on Prime Crime.
I survived. I survived that man, and I'm here, and I'm able to look at him.
Amber snuck in she got the roundhouse in.
A clash of celebrities that had everyone asking, who's telling the truth?
You got this going? Oh, really?
Because, God, did he just hit me? No.
She has a need for conflict.
Tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny.
Hi there, everybody. I'm Jesse Weber, and welcome to a very special Prime Crime. Now, we usually cover the most fascinating criminal cases, but we're doing something a little bit different. We're standing right now outside of the Fairfax County Courthouse in Fairfax County, Virginia. This was the site of one of the most watched, talked about, debated, and high-profile trials that we have ever covered. This was the case that brought Hollywood into the courtroom.
Can you please tell the jury why you're here today?
Yes.
That's acclaimed actor Johnny Depp. No, he's not playing a part in a legal drama. Rather, he's testifying in real life about some very serious allegations.
Ms. Heard brought these disturbing criminal acts that were not based in any species of truth.
In 2022, Johnny Depp went to trial after suing his ex-wife, actress Amber Heard, for $50 million, claiming defamation. He argued that she lied about him in a 2018 Washington Post op-ed piece that implied he abused her during the course of their relationship.
There are three statements that we respectfully ask each of you to focus on.
But never did I myself reach the point of striking Ms. Heard in any way.
He says her false accusations cost him his career and reputation.
It's very strange when one day you're Cinderella, so to speak, and then in 0.6 seconds you're Quasimodo. I didn't deserve that, nor did my children, nor did the people who have believed in me for all these years.
But according to Amber Heard, Johnny Depp wasn't telling the truth.
Because he's guilty. He knows he's lying. Otherwise, why can't he look at me? I survived. I survived that man, and I'm here, and I'm able to look at him.
And not only that, she countersued Depp for $100 million. Heard claimed that Depp's attorney, Adam Waldman, who was acting on behalf of the pirate star, published a series of statements in the media that defamed her, namely calling her allegations a hoax and the aftermath of these alleged attacks staged.
Adam Waldman, Depp's lawyer, said afterwards Amber Heard and her friends in the media used fake sexual violence allegations as both a sword and a shield, depending on their needs. Is this a true or a false statement?
False.
The Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial was an event unlike anything else. Attended by supporters of Depp and Heard, it was a cultural milestone. People waiting hours in line to get into court, fans cheering Depp each day.
I think it shows that men can speak up too.
I believe her. I don't think it's a hoax.
Costumes, signs, messages, the social media activity and interest in this trial reached unprecedented levels. How exactly did Johnny Depp and Amber Heard end up in a courtroom? Let's start from the beginning. The two actors met while making the 2011 film The Rum Diary, and everything changed during one scene.
When would you say your romantic relationship with Miss Heard actually began?
I think there was something in the kiss in the shower that was very real.
It didn't feel like a normal scene anymore. It felt more real.
Miss Heard had come to my trailer. We had a glass of wine and we kissed.
Then we fell in love.
That seems to be the only part they actually agree upon, because what happened next between the two formed the basis for the lawsuit. According to Heard and those close to her, drugs and alcohol caused Depp to become a monster.
It would be a blow up. And at first it was just to throw something, smash some things, threw a glass at me and shattered behind me. And I remember thinking that it very easily could have hit me.
You know, he was almost unrecognizable when he was drinking and using to an excess. He would just say really horrible things about her or to her. He called her a f***ing used up trash bag, slimy whore, saggy whore.
Then the door burst open and Johnny came charging in, looked intoxicated, kind of stumbling, and screamed, "Get your bitch out of here," as he ran in my direction.
Do you remember the first time that he physically hit you?
Yes. I asked him about the tattoo he has on his arm. He said it says wino. It says wino, and I laughed and slapped me across the face. He said, "You think it's so funny? You think it's funny, bitch? You think you're a funny bitch?" And he slapped me again. I said, "God, did he just hit me?" No, I knew it was wrong, and I knew that I had to leave him. And that's what broke my heart, because I didn't want to leave him.
Heard would testify to multiple instances of alleged physical, emotional, mental, and verbal abuse, a narrative supported by text messages from Depp.
You text Mr. Bettany, "Let's burn Amber." Your display of guilt and matronliness as a lesbian camp counselor was plenty. You agree that referring to Amber as a lesbian camp counselor is a highly offensive reference to make.
I don't think I'm the first to say that.
Including messages where it implied he apologized for abusive behavior.
Of course, I am sorry. I really don't know why or what happened, but I will never do it again.
Audio tapes capturing revealing moments between the couple.
Go put your f***ing cigarettes out on someone else. You f***ing consequences for your actions. That's it.
Shut up, fat ass.
And then there was the infamous kitchen video, a tape secretly recorded by Heard of Depp one morning in his LA home.
Nothing happened this morning, you know that?
Were you in here?
No.
So nothing happened to you this morning?
Yeah, you're right. I just woke up and you were so sweet and nice. We were not even fighting this morning. All I did was say sorry.
Did something happen to you this morning? I don't think so.
No, that's the thing.
You want to see crazy? I'll give you crazy. That's crazy. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're crazy.
Have you drunk this whole thing this morning?
Oh, you got this going? You got this going?
I just started it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
No, you didn't. You were smashing.
You were violent in that clip, correct?
Clearly I was having a bad time. I thought what was most interesting is that she tried to hide it from me, and then that she laughed and smiled at the end. I did assault a couple of cabins, but I did not touch Miss Heard.
You poured yourself a mega pint of red wine, correct?
A mega pint.
Through this evidence and Heard's multiple accounts of Depp attacking her, she attempted to show that she wasn't lying about the A-list star. The question was this the full story?
And there's no injuries to your face in this picture, are there?
Not that this picture shows.
So there's no medical records reflecting any injuries to your face after he hit you several times.
I did not need to go to the doctor at the time.
They always say there are three sides to the story. What each side says, and then the truth. For now, here's Depp's version of the breakdown in the relationship, and as you'll hear, it was a lot different than Heard's.
When did Miss Heard's behavior towards you begin to change?
First things started coming up, and I was suddenly just wrong about everything. There were several occasions where Miss Heard would tell me what a bad father I was, and that I had no idea how to parent. It's to slice you up, it's to bring you down, it's to demean you.
Have you witnessed any occasions on which Ms. Heard wasn't nice to your brother?
I have, actually. She called him an old fat man.
No one does 21 drunk streak when they're in their 20s. No, you're right. That's not selling you out.
Fine.
You're a joke. You're a joke.
Did you have an opportunity to observe how the relationship evolved?
I did. They started to argue, and it was always taking place because, Ms. Heard would start this argument.
I don't need you. I don't want you coming.
You're the biggest seller of fake billet goods.
That fake laugh is too much to take.
Depp would testify that not only was he not the aggressor in their disputes, but that Heard was the actual abuser and him the victim.
She would strike out. It could begin with a slap. It could begin with a shove. It could begin with, throwing a TV remote at my head. She has a need for conflict. The only thing I learned to do with it is exactly what I did as a child. Retreat.
I watched you lie, and then I didn't punch you, by the way. I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched. I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not deck you. I was hitting you. You are such a baby. Grow the up, Johnny.
Physical fights?
I did start a physical fight.
Yeah, you did, so I had
because
to out of there.
Yes, you did. So you did the right thing, the big thing. You know what? You are admirable.
When we return, we show both versions of various events to determine what's really going on.
They engaged in what I saw as mutual abuse.
Because the next move, if I don't walk away, it's going to be a bloodbath.
In 2022, actor Johnny Depp was embroiled in a lawsuit with his ex-wife, actress Amber Heard. He accused her of defamation by alleging she falsely implied he was a domestic abuser in a 2018 Washington Post op-ed piece. Heard responded by countersuing Depp, saying he and his attorney coordinated a smear campaign in the media, calling her account a hoax. The question was, who to believe?
And he balled up his fists, leaned back, and headbutted me square in the nose. Instantly, searing pain.
Heard explained that many times she had to cover up her injuries with makeup, a reason why numerous witnesses testified they never saw bruises. For example, her former makeup artist testified what she had to do to conceal bruises on Heard before an appearance on the James Corden show.
She had injuries. It could have looked like somebody had headbutted her lightly, so she had a discoloration here under both eyes and on the bridge of the nose. We covered, the discoloration, the bruises with a little slightly heavier concealer. Remember clearly talking that we had no other option that night, but then to use a red blood, like a really red lipstick to, make sure we could cover up the injuries on the lip.
Heard claimed that not only did Depp beat her up and also verbally, emotionally, and psychologically abuse her, but that he also sexually assaulted her.
He's like grabbing my breasts, he's touching my thighs, he rips my underwear off, proceeds to do a cavity search.
Have you ever sexually assaulted Miss Heard?
Never.
Depp said Heard was the one who attacked him.
And she squared off at me. And I said, go ahead, hit me.
In order to make sense of this he said, she said case, let's go to both sides of some key events. Australia 2015. While Depp was filming Pirates of the Caribbean 5, he and Heard got into a major fight at his home, with him losing the top of his finger. How exactly that happened, though, is in dispute.
She threw the large bottle, and it made contact and shattered everywhere. I was looking directly at my bones.
Was the vodka bottle intact?
No. There was a large chunk of a bottle, which I guess was the rest of that, and lots of other broken glass around the area.
House manager Ben King also testified what Heard told him after.
Ben, have you ever been so angry with someone you just lost it with them?
Curiously, though, Depp didn't originally tell people what happened.
I said that I had smashed it in these large accordion doors.
Why would you lie about that?
I didn't want to get her in trouble.
Even medical professionals couldn't agree on the exact cause of the injury.
So this is a mechanism of injury that has high velocity or force, generally a crush-type injury.
Could this injury have been sustained in the manner Mr. Depp described?
I do believe so.
Did Mr. Depp's finger injury happen as a result of a vodka bottle being thrown at him?
No. No significant injury to the dorsum of the finger. And with that type of a crush injury, we would anticipate both injury to the fingernail and other parts of the finger.
Amber Heard has a completely different explanation, an explanation that we warn you is graphic and disturbing. Not only does she not admit to throwing a bottle at Depp, she claims Depp actually injured his finger from attacking her and sexually assaulting her.
Picks up the phone and starts bashing the phone against the wall. The next thing I remember, I was bent over backwards on the bar. I felt this pressure. It didn't feel pain. It was just a pressure on my pubic bone. And I just remember thinking, please God, please. I hope it's not broken.
But is Heard telling the truth? Let's listen to some opposing testimony and evidence.
Did you observe any damaged phones?
No.
And how did Miss Heard seem to you when you saw her on that day when you arrived to extract him?
Crazy. Fierce. Yeah, the last words I recall hearing as I'm getting Johnny out was, yeah, just f*** off with your guys, you covered like you always do.
In Australia, when we had the big fight where I lost the tip of my finger, at least 5 bathrooms and 2 bedrooms I went to.
To avoid talking to me, to
avoid
working it out. That's
to escape the fight.
You don't escape the fight, you escape the solution. We cannot work it out if you run away to the bathroom every time.
So he penetrates you with this bottle. But you don't know how he got the bottle, right?
That is correct.
And he did that right after he lost the tip of his right middle finger.
Again, I don't remember the exact sequence.
Moving on. A few months later, Amber Heard says Depp got into a physical altercation with her sister, Whitney.
He threw the Red Bull can up at me, bolted up the steps. I don't know how he managed to get his hands in my hair so fast, yanking me down and hit me in the face with this cast. My sister all of a sudden put herself in between Johnny and I. Her back was to the staircase. In my head, instantly think of Kate Moss and the stairs, and I swung at him.
He comes up behind me, strikes me in the back, kind of just somewhere over here. He strikes me in the back. I hear Amber shout, "Don't hit my f***ing sister." She smacks him, lands one. Johnny had already grabbed Amber by the hair with one hand and was whacking her repeatedly in the face with the other.
But Depp's account, once again, is a lot different.
Mr. Depp, could you please explain to the jury the circumstances that led to you having the bruise that's reflected in this photograph?
She was coming out, trying to trying to get to me. Whitney stepped in front of Amber and was facing Amber to stop Amber. And when she was in between us, Amber snuck in she got the roundhouse in.
I saw Miss Heard throw a Red Bull can that struck Mr. Depp in the back. At one point, she spit at him. Mr. Depp went upstairs and rearranged her closet for her. Threw down probably every rack of clothing. I heard and saw a closed fist contact Mr. Depp in the left side of his face.
In your time working for Mr. Depp, have you ever seen Mr. Depp physically abuse Miss Heard?
I have not.
And that reference to Kate Moss, well, the supermodel herself cleared that up.
Did Mr. Depp push you in any way down the stairs?
No, he never pushed me, kicked me, or threw me down any stairs.
Then there's May 21st, 2016, an event that caused her to seek out a restraining order against Depp, which ultimately led to the demise of the marriage. However, before getting into the details of the alleged attack, we have to address what fueled the fight. According to Depp, before Heard left for Coachella, his team informed him of something that was left for him in his bed.
What was the photograph of Mr. Depp?
On my side of the bed, was human fecal matter.
And did you have any discussions with Miss Heard on the way to Coachella that evening?
We had a conversation pertaining to the surprise she left in the boss's bed.
And what did Miss Heard say about the defecation in Mr. Depp's bed?
A horrible practical joke gone wrong.
First of all, I don't think that's funny. I don't know what a grown woman does. That's disgusting.
Fast forward to May 21st, 2016.
What do you recall with respect to a telephone call you received from Amber?
She put me on speakerphone, so I was talking to both of them. Johnny thinks that you and I together defecated on his pillow. And so he got very agitated by the fact that she and I thought it was funny. He came clomping back down the stairs. I heard like a noise, and then the phone dropped. He said to her, "Oh, you think I hit you? You think I hit you? What if I peel your hair back?" And then I heard the phone drop again, and then I heard her scream. I hung up with her and immediately called 911.
With that, picks up, just pulls his arm back with the phone and throws it at my face. Hit me right in it felt like my eye. I put my head in my hands and immediately start crying.
She was calling for help, and that had never happened before. And I went up to him, and he was yelling and yelling. And then at that point, Jerry and Sean came in from the front door of PH3 and came in, and they were like, boss, come on, let's get out of here. They finally left. This is Amber's face. It's red.
Does this fairly and accurately depict Miss Heard's condition that you observed that evening?
Yes. This is Amber's face turned at a slight profile. Her eye is red and bruised.
Yet when police arrived to the penthouse, listen to what they observed, or rather, didn't observe.
Did you notice any injuries on Miss Heard?
I did not. Would you agree it's a red mark on her face? I'll ask you.
From what I saw was red from her crying. There was no red marks from any other thing. It was consistent with her crying. Miss Heard refused any medical treatment and had no visible injuries. There was no sign of struggle, and the victim, the witness that was there that I spoke with was uncooperative as well.
I did not want to speak to them. I wanted to protect Johnny. I didn't want him to be arrested. I didn't want him to be in trouble. I didn't want the world to know.
Not only did officers not see any injuries, but neither did several witnesses in the days afterwards.
I say to Amber as I'm walking up, "He hit you?" And she goes, "Yeah, he threw a phone at me and hit me." Out. She puts her face out like that. I'm looking at her forehead. I'm looking at the side of her eye. I'm looking at her cheek. I'm looking at her chin. I'm looking at the other side of the face. I'm looking at the whole thing. And I don't see anything.
That's correct. I didn't see any marks or bruises. You didn't see any swelling either, did you, Mr. Romero? That's correct. No swelling at all. And she was only 3 or 4 feet away from you, correct? Correct.
Depp asserts that Heard manufactured these bruises. Coming up, the story takes a wild turn.
Were you having a photo shoot inside the courthouse while you were getting a DVRO?
I would not characterize it that way, Ms. Vasquez.
You have a mark on your face, right, Miss Heard?
Yes.
You didn't use your bruise kit this time to cover it up?
No, it was the only day I actually walked out of my house without makeup on.
I don't know how to get my reputation back.
The abuse thing is we've got to deal with that, yeah.
It's my credibility. No,
And why did you put that out there?
I did not. You forced me. Your team forced me to by going on the offense.
When Johnny Depp sued his ex-wife Amber Heard for defamation after she penned a 2018 Washington Post op-ed piece that implied he was a domestic abuser, the central issue was whether or not she was making this up. Heard countersued Depp for statements his attorney made claiming her abuse allegations were a hoax, and she strongly defended herself.
Ms. Vasquez has suggested that you faked bruises on your face. Is that true?
Absolutely not. I didn't need to.
In determining whether Heard was the type of person who would falsely accuse someone of physical and sexual violence, Heard's mental health ended up becoming a key factor in this case. Heard's expert, forensic psychologist Dr. Dawn Hughes, testified that Heard showed clear signs of PTSD and of being a victim.
Ms. Heard's report of intimate partner violence and the records that I reviewed is consistent with what we know in the field about intimate partner violence, characterized by physical violence, psychological aggression, sexual violence, coercive control, and surveillance behavior.
I don't care. You shut up with that.
This is not happening, you stupid.
In fact, Heard presented the testimony of actress Ellen Barkin, who helped to corroborate the abuse allegations by testifying about her own experiences with the actor.
He was drunk all the time, a lot of the time. Mr. Depp threw a wine bottle across the room, the hotel room on one instance. He's just a jealous man, controlling where are you going, who are you going with.
However, Depp's expert Dr. Shannon Curry provided a completely different diagnosis, a diagnosis that was quite troubling.
Ms. Heard did not have PTSD, and there were also pretty significant indications that she was grossly exaggerating symptoms of PTSD. The results of Ms. Heard's evaluation supported 2 diagnoses: borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder. Like I said, there's instability in emotions. Borderline personality disorder, you're having these fluctuating moods constantly. And again, this hypersensitivity to being slighted. They'll make a lot of accusations. They will often physically prevent their partner from trying to leave if their partner wants to get space from all of this intense emotion. And oftentimes they will be abusive to their partner.
A boxer can't go 12 rounds without a minute break.
I'm not giving you a minute break. You do it at minute 3 at the beginning of an argument.
I go into the bathroom and sit on the floor. Bam, 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 here you come. Okay, so let me go, and you go,
and I'll speak to you in a couple hours. Okay?
Please,
May I go?
Please, it causes me so much stress when you leave, when you walk away from me with that. It's like you don't understand how much worse you're making this.
They'll make threats using the legal system. So they might say that they are going to file a restraining order or claim abuse, or they might do these things to essentially try to keep their partner from leaving.
This brings us to May 2016. In the days after Heard alleged Depp threw a cell phone at her face, Heard filed for divorce and obtained a domestic violence restraining order against Depp while the actor was out of town.
At the time, it felt like the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
And why did you file for divorce?
I knew if I didn't, I'd likely not literally survive.
When Heard went to the court to get the order, though, TMZ was mysteriously alerted.
Their objective was to capture her leaving the courthouse, and then she was going to sort of stop and turn towards the camera to display the bruise on the right side of her face, the alleged bruise.
Did your team of videographers get the shot of Amber Heard?
We did.
They had alerted TMZ that you would be filing a TRO against Mr. Depp that very day, didn't you?
No, I did
the
not.
The one day you didn't bother to wear makeup to cover up the mark on your face.
I did not call TMZ or any other news source.
Also, before Heard's scheduled divorce deposition, TMZ received a leaked copy of the video of Depp's violent behavior in his home.
Yes, the video was sent in through our email tip line, and it included a link from some unknown Dropbox type website.
But you testified that you had absolutely nothing to do with the video's release, right?
Absolutely not. I'm sorry.
You heard Mr. Tremaine testify that the cabinet video was posted 15 minutes after TMZ received it, yes?
That's what I heard him say.
And that this could only have been possible if the video was received directly from the source, yes?
I heard him say that. I don't know if that's true or if that's possible.
You edited that video before you gave it to TMZ so that only Mr. Depp would look bad, yes?
That's absurd.
Depp's theory was that Heard never really was the victim or was in danger, but instead, she orchestrated an elaborate abuse plot in order to receive a favorable divorce settlement. One problem for Depp is what he ended up signing in the divorce agreement.
That contains the statement, neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. Neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. Did I read that right?
You did, Mr. Roddenborn.
Take that down, Michelle.
In the aftermath of the couple's divorce, Depp ended up paying Heard $7 million, a settlement amount that Heard had pledged to donate the entirety of to charities. But that didn't quite happen.
Had any payments been made by Miss Heard to the Children's Hospital in connection with the $3.5 million pledge?
$250,000.
So after this December 2018 donation, has Ms. Heard made any donations directly or indirectly to the ACLU?
No, we learned that she was having financial difficulties.
So in this October 2018 interview, you said that you had, quote, donated, end quote, your entire divorce settlement to charity, right?
That's correct.
As of today, you have not donated, paid $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity, right?
I have not been able to fulfill those obligations yet.
And that's because you did want something. You wanted Mr. Depp's money.
Didn't get it, wasn't interested in it.
And speaking of the ACLU, we learned the organization was instrumental in actually working with Heard in drafting and pitching the op-ed at the center of this lawsuit. Depp cast doubt on the credibility of the piece by highlighting that it coincided with the release of Heard's movie Aquaman.
Were you trying to boost your sales for Aquaman since it was coming out in that same time frame?
A major motion picture or major franchise like that is not aided by the publication of an op-ed in the Washington Post.
After Depp sued Heard for the op-ed, his lawyer Adam Waldman issued several statements to the Daily Mail. One statement called Heard's sexual violence claims fake. Another alleged that Heard and her friends staged the May 21, 2016 scene to seemingly frame Depp for physical abuse. Another called Heard's abuse allegations a hoax. These statements form the basis for Heard's counterclaims against Depp. Aside from the legal question of whether they were defamatory, the other legal issue became, was Waldman acting on behalf of Depp?
When is the first time that you saw this statement by Mr. Waldman?
August 2020, when I was countersued by Ms. Heard.
So did you in fact have a meeting with the Mail Online on 17 February?
I see this, and it wouldn't surprise me if we had.
And was Mr. Depp with you when you had the meeting?
I believe Mr. Depp was with me when we had this meeting.
You and Mr. Waldman together met with the Daily Mail in London in February 2020, didn't you?
I just don't recall it.
Okay. You don't disagree with Mr. Waldman's testimony that you and he met with people from the Daily Mail in London in February 2020, correct?
If that's Mr. Waldman's testimony, then... Okay. But I just didn't necessarily know who these people were.
Right.
Coming up, the dramatic conclusion to the Depp-Heard saga.
We have big breaking news here. In Fairfax, Virginia, the jury has reached a verdict.
What have you lost as a result of Ms. Heard making these allegations against you?
Nothing less than everything.
Johnny Depp filed a $50 million lawsuit against his ex-wife Amber Heard for defamation, claiming that she lied about him being a domestic abuser in a 2018 Washington Post op-ed piece. Heard responded by countersuing Depp for $100 million, arguing Depp defamed her when his attorney Adam Waldman issued a series of false statements to the Daily Mail calling her abuse allegations a hoax and fake. The 7-person Virginia jury wouldn't only be tasked with deciding if these statements were defamatory, but if any of them were, what would be the damages or payout? Depp claimed he lost his career and reputation due to the op-ed piece.
After the op-ed, it was impossible to get him a studio film, which is what we normally would have been focused on in that time period.
Prior to 2016 and the allegations, the abuse allegations, Mr. Depp was not portrayed in a negative connotation. After the op-ed, there seemed to be kind of a theme or a flavor of not only the abuse allegations, but his drinking and drug use.
I concluded that Mr. Depp suffered lost earnings of approximately $40 million.
Amber Heard claimed, though, Depp's own actions, not the 2018 op-ed, led to the downfall of his career.
And how did it become far more complicated in the last 10 years of representing?
His unprofessional behavior, showing up late to set consistently on virtually every movie. And it made people reluctant to use him toward the end.
Likewise, Heard argued her life and career trajectory were never the same after the Depp-Waldman statements.
And can you point us to any career opportunities that Ms. Heard has lost because of any statements made by Mr. Waldman?
I mean, the Amazon movie, for one, is one that is tangible, because that is an example of something that she had before all of it that was then taken away.
How much would Amber Heard have been able to negotiate her contract but for the Depp-Waldman statements?
She certainly could have increased it by $1 or $2 million or even doubled it without any of this negativity that was created by the Depp-Waldman statements.
Not only did Depp respond with his own expert criticizing Heard's,
her assessment of damages is built on nothing, and it's wildly speculative.
but there was evidence that Heard's future, such as in the Aquaman series, was in jeopardy for other reasons, as outlined by Warner Brothers executive Walter Hamada.
The issue of chemistry, did the two have chemistry? I think editorially they were able to make that relationship work in the first movie, but there was a concern that it took a lot of effort to get there, and would we be better off recasting, finding someone who had better, more natural chemistry with Jason Momoa?
Eventually, after weeks of testimony, we came towards the end of the trial. Depp, Heard, and their attorneys made their final pleas to the jury.
No human being is perfect, certainly not. Have never in my life committed sexual battery, physical abuse. No matter what happens, I did get here, and I did tell the truth.
Every single day, I have to relive the trauma. My hands shake. I wake up screaming. This is horrible. This is painful. And this is humiliating for any human being to go through.
The mountain of evidence that Mr. Depp abused Ms. Heard is simply not there. And you can't pick and choose which of these wild allegations to believe and which ones to disregard. You either believe all of it or none of it.
If you believe that Depp was abusive to Amber one time ever, in any of the various forms of abuse, not only physical, verbal, emotional, psychological, sexual, any of the ways of abuse, then your job is very easy.
No woman ever before Amber Heard ever claimed that Mr. Depp raised a hand to her in his 58 years. This is Me Too without any Me Too.
So we're fighting back, and that's the counterclaim. She finally has said enough, enough. And we're asking you to finally hold this man responsible.
After nearly 13 hours of deliberations, with the world watching, including over 3.5 million live viewers on the Law&Crime Network's YouTube page, the jury came back with their decision.
Quote, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change, end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. 2, quote, then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out, end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. 3, quote, I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. We, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $10 million. We, the jury, award punitive damages in the amount of $5 million.
In the end, Amber Heard was liable to Johnny Depp for each one of her statements in the op-ed, the jury ultimately deciding these were false claims and were made with actual malice. As for her counterclaims, she won with respect to only one statement, Waldman's accusations of a stage scene.
As against John C. Depp II, we, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $2 million. We, the jury, award punitive damages in the amount of $0.
After the verdict, Johnny Depp released a statement saying in part, quote, the jury gave me my life back. I also hope that the position will now return to innocent until proven guilty, both within the courts and in the media. As for Amber Heard, she released a statement saying in part, quote, the disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. It is a setback. I seem to have lost a right I thought I had as an American to speak freely and openly.
The last time that it got crazy between us, I really did think I was going to lose my life this time.
Amber, I lost a finger, man. Come on.
Tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence. And
yes.
I know it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
No matter where you stand or how you feel about this case, there's no denying that it had a tremendous impact. And despite the celebrity, the salacious details, the drama, this was a story about real and serious issues of domestic violence, mental health, and substance abuse that affect so many people across the country today. And perhaps that's the biggest takeaway over anything else. Thanks for joining us.
here on Prime Crime. Until next time, be safe.